second. Ms. Jacobs, if you'll call the roll, please.
Mr. Brown?
Present.
Mr. Bryson?
Present.
Dr. Bunch?
Present.
Mr. Coleman?
Present.
Dr. Dozier?
Here.
Mr. Elmore?
Here.
Mr. Irvin? Mr. Freeman?
Here.
Mr. Gunn?
Here.
Mrs. Hartung? Here. Mr. Jackson?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Keels? Senator Leatherman?
Here.
Mr. Lee? Mr. McIntyre?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mr. Norwood?
Here.
Dr. O'Kelly? Mrs. Richardson? Here. Mr. Stanton?
Here.
And thank you. For the record, Mr. Lee was present. You've had an opportunity to review the minutes. Do I have any additions or changes to the minutes?
Move they be approved as submitted.
Second.
Thank you. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Moving to committee reports. We met this morning at 8:30 in Executive Affairs. Had a report from the President. I want to thank everybody that was in attendance. We actually had about 15 this morning. As always, everybody's invited to attend. Covered a variety of topics. No action was taken, and some of those topics will be covered later in the committee reports. If there are no questions, we'll move right along to academic affairs. Excuse me, point of order. I have to forget sometimes as you get older, I'm a little forgetful. We do have 4 new board members I need to mention today, and they've already become very actively involved and had their orientation session last month. Mr. Floyd Keels from Lake City. Where's he?
He stepped out.
He's here.
There he is.
Perfect timing. You know, we call his name, there he is. Been actively involved with France Marion for a number of years. Mr. Floyd Keels, Mr. Mark Moore from Charleston. Raise your hand. I would remind you, new board members, that you're all on TV now, so be careful what you say or do. Mr. Mark Bunch from Gaffney, and Mr. Jody Bryson from Greenville. So we welcome you aboard and look forward to working with you. And already you've contributed greatly over the last couple of days, and we thank you for electing to become members of this board. Academic Affairs and Accreditation, Trish Hartung.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We did meet this morning, and we heard reports from the provost, the faculty chair, and the associate provost for enrollment and academic affairs. And we have one item to bring to tab, and it is a studies. It's my understanding that this shows a level of support from the trustees and will go in the packet for consideration by the Commission on Higher Education when they deal with our request for including this in our curriculum. And I believe there'll be more discussion on this later on, but that comes as a recommendation from the committee, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Elmore, let me just repeat the motion, and I assume this is mainly for preparation and development for that degree.
It's actually taking a proposal forward to the Commission on Higher Education. Yes, sir.
France Marion University Board of Trustees supports the preparation of a formal program planning summary for the Master of Science in Physician Assistant Studies, which would be submitted to the Advisory Committee on Academic Programs of the South Commission on Higher Education. Discussion on that? I think that's a pretty important decision on our part. Certainly have great implication and ramifications for the school here, and we're very excited about that. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution.
Mr. Chair, while we heard some interesting things in our committee, and I commend anybody's attendance at that committee, I have nothing further to report.
Thank you. Development and Alumni, Mr. Tracy Freeman.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, all. We met this morning. Foundation Committee did, just 100% of participation and attendance. Of course, we just only met about 6 to 8 weeks ago, so not very much has gone through. so forth, but just to bring a couple of things to light, the Education Foundation Review Board is now up to 18 members. They have a meeting that is scheduled, I think is in October the 23rd. It's the 18th, I think it is, in October. Foundation activities, tentative dates for foundation events so far is on the 17th of October. We're going to have a scholarship donor recipient luncheon that may be moved, but right now that is a tentative date where the donors actually meet the recipients. It's a great time. It is held here on the university's campus. March 7th, 2014 is the foundation golf tournament, which we have very success each year. The Rural Leadership Institute and the Nonprofit Leadership Institute, for the Rural Leadership Institute will be again its third year, and for the Nonprofit Leadership will be again in the 7th year, with 24 participants in the rural part side. In the nonprofit, it will be in the 12th year in existence with about 30 participants in that. We also have had some major gifts for the new upcoming program, that is the Industrial Engineering Program, and we have thus far raised some over tune of $440,000, and the program has not even started just yet. So I think that's very, very interesting, showing how the interest of our local industry is waiting for this program to kick off. Some of those major players has been Honda, Santee Cooper, Duke Energy, and we are talking to some other major industry in the area. Now we've turned into size of the alumni affairs. Our Julia Young could not be here today, so it was given to us by Mr. Darrell Bridges, who's the Foundation Development Officer. September, we're also planning another phone-a-thon. October the 10th, we're having a psychology alumni event, and October the 15th, a biology alumni event, and please see your emails for other events that's coming along thereafter. And then we're switching over to community affairs, some upcoming events we should be having is September the 10th. We're having a new faculty reception at Mrs. Kassab's house. That's a usual annual event that's very well attended by several board members and alike community leaders. What that does is about we have approximately 15 to 16 new faculty members, and it gives them a very warm reception of the university's leadership. October the 27th through the 31st, we're having the Transatlantic Conference, and you can get more information through Darrell. That is a collaboration with our partner from the German states that has established a sister state agreement between the two states, which was established sometime early in the early 90s. And so it's going to be held at the Kingston Plantation in Myrtle Beach. And so, like I said, again, please see Mr. Darrell for more information. But it's going to be, I think it's led by, for this delegation, by Mrs. Patricia Hartung. And so I think it's going to be a great event. Unfortunately, I can't attend. I got an anniversary that week. And then, of course, December the 5th is going to be the Community Christmas Party here on campus, and December the 6th, the faculty staff Christmas party. That concludes my report, sir. Any questions, comments?
Well, that was a lot of information to not have a short time. A lot of important things. Any questions for him? Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Good report. Financial Affairs and Facilities, Mr. George McIntyre.
Mr. Chairman, we met this morning, and we do have a brief report in that we've only had 8% of the year pass since we began this fiscal year, so we don't have a very lengthy report as far as the budget summary, but I think everyone has passed about 8% of the year, just over a month. We have received about 18% of our money income so far, and we've expended about 7% of our money. So it's a very brief report there because we're so early in the year. So in addition to that, we did just briefly look at the employee head count. It's really remained unchanged since we last met, so nothing to report there. And I'll just mention in passing again the importance of financial assistance for our students here, and we project about 87% of our students at the university will receive some form of financial aid in the upcoming year. So, very brief report as far as the finance goes. Now, we did discuss several facility projects going on. The first one that we discussed was we're very pleased that we received a $350,000 grant from DOT through the efforts of Senator Leatherman and others at the County Transportation Committee to enhance the Highway 327 area here in the landscaping and also in traffic control as we continue to develop that area. And of course, the outdoor athletic complex there and the Richardson Center for the Child and other developments down the road. This will be a very important addition to our campus out here. And thank you, Senator Leatherman, for your efforts. We also discussed that, of course, there's an ongoing renovation, some renovations at the Hyman Fine Arts Center. The major renovation is replacing the rigging in the theater, and that was a major project, and that's underway and will be completed soon. There's also new signage for Francis Marion being installed, and we anticipate having that up and ready by before the student sign will allow for more activities in the amphitheater area. That's being revised and in the development stage, but that will be happening soon. There are also renovations going on at the Leatherman and McNair Science buildings. These are primarily upgrades in wallpaper, carpet, and cosmetic upgrades, but were needed and they're underway, and we'll freshen up those two buildings. And we're continuing, as we always do at this time of year, painting dorms, apartments, preparing for the fall enrollment, and so all those cosmetic upgrades are being completed in the dorms and the apartments. And I'll just mention in passing that we're also completing wireless communication in the Forest Villa apartments, and when this is completed, pretty much all of our housing on campus will be wireless. So those are just some of the projects that are going on now as we move forward and get ready for another fall semester. Again, very brief report, but that's all we have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre. Any questions, discussion for him? Hearing none, move on to student affairs and athletics. Mr. Eddie Gunn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As others have indicated, we have a brief report. Coming up on August 17th will be the beginning of the new school year as far as move-in goes. Move-in officially begins around 8 o'clock, expected to last until about 2. Any trustees who are available and are able to are certainly encouraged to provide manual labor that day to help us students move into the dormitories.
What day is that again?
That's a Saturday.
August
the
17th.
Yes, sir.
Do you have like another job for some of us that are like medically fragile, like hot dogs or something like that?
Well, I'm quite sure that could be arranged.
Just serving food?
Driving a golf cart or something like that.
You know, Mr. Chairman, I think a sufficient contribution to the foundation
Oh.
might
You can always buy your way out of it.
Okay.
And Teresa informed me there will be hats available to commemorate this event. A lot of events planned for the week of August 18th through 21st, the move-in week, the freshman week. Dr. Wand will be back on campus, the hypnotist, who's always been a big hit. I understand in excess of 1,000 folks generally attend and puts on a great show over there. Let's see what we got. We are anticipating somewhere in the neighborhood of 800 freshmen this year. Dr. King wouldn't give us an exact number because he still said it's a work in progress. But we had 814 last year, and we're going to anticipate getting close to that this year. And so those are the big events for the week coming up. There's a new program called Freshman Focus that's being initiated this year, which is a personal growth and development program for first-year students. It's a new program. It's not designed to compete with University 101, but it's just another tool to try to improve these areas. The Leadership FMU program continues. 40 to 45 students will be involved in this program in an ongoing process, which has turned out to be a huge success. Patriot Day of Service, which is a day which will be dedicated to students committing to serve their community for one particular day or in the PD area. And a renewed focus on career connections. This is where you come to college for 4 years, you get your degree, now what do you do? So this is an emphasis on try to instill those skills that will help individuals in their search for job opportunities once they complete their work here at Francis Marion. Over in the athletic area, again, there hasn't been a lot of athletics on campus in the last 6 weeks, but Murray did distribute a list of fall home athletic opportunities, which are varied and many. And the men's and women's soccer, volleyball, and cross country will be kicking off real soon. He's bringing in an individual to deal with the social media aspect in the athletic department. I think a lot of you are aware of mistakes that people have made in colleges and universities across the country and saying things they probably regret on social media. And this is designed to sort of educate the athletes on the ups and downs of social media. Mike Green will be back on campus this year, and Mike's a motivational speaker who has a theme is to deal with the problems dealt with alcohol. Murray indicated that he's so happy to come back this year. He's not even going to charge a fee other than just his expenses. So we're happy to have him back on campus. Other folks will be involved addressing the public safety aspects, writing, and Dr. Best, I believe, is going to be coming and joining to talk to the athletes about plagiarism, which is something that seems to be epidemic these days, and the pitfalls of getting involved in that. And so that's really where we are in the athletic department. We've got a full schedule going. Murray, you also mentioned that there will be some much needed maintenance, or I should say maintenance done to the baseball field over here, primarily because it's been in use so much, and that's a good thing. So we're going to be bringing in an expert to get it back in first-class shape, and that facility has been well utilized this year, and we continue to look for other opportunities as well. That's our report.
Thank you. Just a couple of comments. If you do get a chance to come in on moving day, just to drop by, you don't have to be there all day. It's a pretty exciting time back to school. See a lot of enthusiasm, kids moving in, parents, and just helps remind us why we do what we do here. And I know this has been a relatively short committee report and will be a short meeting, but I do want to remind the public out there that we've been here since 2 o'clock yesterday meeting and had some good meetings this morning. Then that moves us on to President's report.
Mr. Chairman, let me, as with the chairpersons of the committee, point out that this will be a brief report, okay? But, you know, in truth, it's a brief report, as are many of the other reports, because we met about 6 weeks ago. We delayed that spring meeting simply to let the state budget be passed so that the board could then act on tuition issues and the like. But let me add my voice to the chairman's voice in welcoming Trustees Keel and Bryson and Bunch and Moore to the board. You're going to be terrific board members. I mean, all four of you just demonstrated as you went through the hearing process and discussions with the members of the board and other folks, your sincerity about service and the very, very rich and diverse array of backgrounds that you bring to the board. That we're very, very excited about you being here. Let me also congratulate Trustees Richardson, Hartung, Coleman, Dozier, and McIntyre on being reelected to another term on the board. Again, we're delighted to have you, all of you, coming back. Mr. Chairman, this past month we celebrated, the university celebrated its 43rd anniversary, and we're kicking off into our 44th year. Still the youngest of the state universities overall out there, but my goodness, if you stop and consider the past couple of years, it's been a very, very active time for this university. You know, we've constructed a foundation for a comprehensive array of health programs, the like of which the PD and this portion of South Carolina has never seen before. That a few years back, the Bachelor of Science in Nursing, and then this past year, nurse practitioner, nurse educator. Today, you've embraced and agreed to send forward to the CHE that the petition for the Physician Assistance Program. Next year, with some collaboration with our friends at the University of South Carolina, we'll bring those 40 medical students to South Carolina 3rd and 4th year medical students to do their clinical work. And as I briefed the board yesterday, we will, with the encouragement you gave us, we will begin a feasibility study this fall to look at the development of a speech therapy program, which I think will be critically important, not just for the state overall, but for this portion of South Carolina as well. I think all those are terrifically important additions to the things that we're doing down the road. I would like to take just a second and thank my friend and the supporter for all of us at the end of the table, Senator Hugh Leatherman, and the other members of the delegation, specifically Mr. Lowe and Dr. Crawford, for the strong support they gave us in funding for the nurse practitioner program this past year and in funding for the health sciences facility. Chairman, all of us know that that was not an easy task this year, given many of the pressures placed upon you for funding elsewhere in the state. We want you to know how grateful we are for what you do for us. Bachelor of Science in Engineering. You know, we were pretty certain that this would be a good program when we move forward. As I told the board yesterday, the faculty turned out that curriculum, Dr. Flanagan, in about a year and a half. Got through a comprehensive curriculum through the faculty in about 18 months. We were successful in getting an appropriation this past year for that program, which will secure the recurring costs of that program. And my goodness, we've already gotten 3 major gifts from Santee Cooper and Honda and Duke Energy, and Darrell Bridges tells me that there are literally dozens of other gifts that are likely to flow in momentarily. So, but again, I think it underscores the importance of that type of engineering degree to this region of South Carolina. And I think this is one, like nursing, that's just going to promise enormous potential for this institution as we move along. I attended Joe King, our county economic development director, called a meeting of some regional CEOs the other day, and gave me a couple of minutes to talk about the industrial engineering degree. And the responses I got from the CEOs around the region was, that's great, Fred. When are you going to do mechanical? What about chemical? So, you know, the truth of the matter is, and I certainly don't want to incite acrimony among the other universities in South Carolina, but trust me when I say the industrial engineering degree is a beginning for this institution that likely will grow and expand as we go along. Finally, Mr. Chairman, just 2 other issues I want to remark on. One is the great colleges to work for. The national award, the distinction we received this past year as being one of about 30 institutions across the country recognized for being just a darn good place to work. And I want to remind you that the people who make this a good place to work are the 500 faculty and staff who are here every single day. They create the culture, they create the dynamic. They're the people who truly receive new employees and integrate them into that culture. So, yeah, it's all well and good, and I know this administration's proud to have that, and I know this board's proud to have it, but that's really an accolade to the men and women who do the work on this campus every single day. And again, I couldn't be more proud of them and what they do. And finally, some of you may have noticed in the paper this past week, the City of Florence received a statewide award from the Municipal Association for Economic Development Initiative. And the initiative that was focused upon was the partnership in the creation of the Performing Arts Center. So, my friends, board members, I extend to you my congratulations for being a part of the city's success. We couldn't have done that without the City of Florence. But then again, we couldn't have done it without the Drs. Bruce and Lee Foundation either. We sure as heck couldn't have done it without Senator Leatherman bringing a ton of money to the table. And the truth of the matter is there's enough glory in the development of that PAC for everybody to take pride in across this region. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Any questions, any further discussion for the President? Hearing none, we'll move on to unfinished business. Mr. Ken Jackson, this is your time for the nominating committee.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to thank my fellow committee members, Trustee Gail Richardson and Tracy Friedman, and we are prepared to present a slate for the 2014-2015 year, and we'd like to present for Chairman, Trustee George McIntyre, for Vice Chairman, Trustee Tim Norwood, and for Secretary, Trustee Frank Elmore.
And you've talked to these people and they've agreed to do it. Sure.
Yeah, there was a little arm twisting, but they all agreed.
Well, what happens is we have a slate of officers. We present those officers at this meeting. We leave it on the table until the November meeting, then we vote on it. So that's by our bylaws. I thank you for your hard work. I know that was a difficult and task with the elections and all the things that went on, and I thank those three for agreeing, George in particular, for agreeing to serve as chairman. He'll make a great chairman as he has in the past, so thank you. We'll move on to new business. I don't think we have any new business. In the executive session, no executive session. So hearing no further business, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Have a motion to adjourn. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Good meeting.
Thanks.